Hi there, my name is Itimi. Of course you know that. I'm your favorite YouTuber, at least I hope. Anyway, after working on mobile apps marketing on the continent for a while, I'm very excited today to collaborate with AppsFlyer, my favorite attribution to and the world's leading mobile measurement company, used by over 90,000 apps globally. Over the next couple of weeks, AppsFlyer and I are collaborating to produce a series of videos that centers around mobile marketing in Africa. We'll be talking about the importance of accurate measurement, justifying ad spend, how to deliver exceptional user experiences, and how to gain on the competition. I'll be speaking with leading apps on the continent and be sharing data-driven insight that can help your brand thrive. For instance, did you know that user acquisition ad spend in Africa for finance apps grew by 45% between H1 2021 and H2 2022? Yeah, so much to learn on this series. Also, you could download a recent webinar by AppsFlyer and DCloud on how mobile apps are transforming finance in Africa. The link is going to be in this video description. For this first video, however, I'm excited to speak with Bradley Wand, who is the VP of Growth at Kuda, a leading mobile app in Africa and in the UK. I'm sure you know Kuda. So if you want to learn everything about how Kuda has grown so much in a short time, how they're building an amazing growth organization, and how they market to their users, you should definitely stay and watch this video to the end. I'll see you at the end. Peace.
YouTube channel. I am Itimi, a change maker, professional, and creative who is passionate about growing people and growing businesses. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and please always share my videos. It promises to always be impactful and insightful.
So like I said earlier in the introduction, I'm speaking with Bradley. He's the VP of Growth at Kuda, and you're going to tell me everything that you can.
All the secrets.
All the secrets. You know, what do I need to do? What do we need to do to kind of replicate Kuda's growth? But before we get in, let's start from maybe a background. Like, tell me about your career. What were you doing before you joined Kuda? Why did you even join Kuda in the first place? Just kind of like your history.
I'll give you the full ramp up.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me for a start. So yeah, my career, I guess it probably goes all the way back to Trade Doubler. That's where I first started in, it was an affiliate network, probably one of the biggest in Europe at the time. Amazing company, huge brands like American Express, Expedia, Hewlett Packard. Also a pretty big team, so that was a great start in kind of performance marketing. So like I said, I was running American Express's affiliate program.
Right.
So that was I guess my first dabble in the finance world. And yeah, that was just great experience.
And what year was this?
Oh gosh, don't test me on that. Yeah, quite a while ago. Yeah, a long time. So yeah, so I was on the client side, and then I also ended up running kind of our publisher development team, and just started working with more different types of publishers essentially. Because the network was very, you have PPC and loyalty and voucher codes and etc. And we're really trying to expand that. And yeah, I got heavily involved in mobile at the time. And that's when I kind of got headhunted by Apple, which which was right time, right place. They were building iAd, which was their first advertising network, and that was also just an amazing experience. So yeah, joined them. I think my first week I flew out to Helsinki and met the VP of marketing at Rovio, and it just went from there. So yeah, I spent 5 years there, traveling from here to Russia and meeting every single developer, game developers, all sorts of developers. But yeah, just a great experience to kind of meet the best, see what they were doing, and learn from them. Also just obviously learning kind of the Apple way whilst you're there. And obviously we work very closely with developer relations and the App Store team. So yeah, just great experience in the early days of kind of mobile, which I'll always be super grateful for that experience.
Yeah.
Then I moved to AppsFlyer, and I was heading up sales there.
That's kind of like an interesting switch, right?
Yeah, well, I guess it kind of goes back to the performance marketing side. Trade Doubler was, essentially tracking, affiliate tracking. So attribution is pretty much similar, right? It's just in the mobile space.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of moved into more of a sales focus there. So I was kind of more client services, then publisher relations, and then moved into sales. And yeah, also great experience. They had amazing. I was there, so yeah, still say we, but also amazing clients, right? Obviously one of the best attribution platform out there. So yeah, just great experience working with a lot of finance clients again. And then I also was the first to start focusing on Africa. I think we had maybe one account. No one was really focusing on Sub-Sahara. Obviously being South African, it was really interesting to me. So we managed to bring on quite a few number of clients. Takealot. Trying to think who else. Takealot, Naspers, obviously, MultiChoice, Echo Bank also.
Nice.
So that was my first experience of working with Nigerian companies. So I was there for a few years. And then, just had an opportunity to join Kuda, and that's kind of how I ended up where I am.
So what was the appeal? Why did you say yes to Kuda?
It's just such an exciting opportunity, right? Amazing vision for like what we want to build. So it was just a really good opportunity to get involved, kind of on the ground with the company, very early stage, and just help it scale. So that was one of the reasons. There's a few. Obviously, I've worked with different cultures. Trade Double was Swedish. Obviously, AppsFlyer is an Israeli company. Apple, I was across Europe, but never really got to go, down south and across Africa. So that's really appealing to me. Like we have a big vision of kind of being the money app for Africans and across Africa. So very excited to start exploring more markets. Just kind of meet new people and get back to my roots in Africa.
It's been like 2 years now, right?
2 years, yeah.
What was the first 3 months like for you being VP of Growth?
First 3 months, wow, yeah. Like I said, I joined pretty early stage, right? So I think, obviously we already have a fantastic team and they had amazing initial growth. The first few months, it's kind of getting in, understanding the business, like how it's all set up, and then just starting to build the infrastructure for growth, really. So, obviously getting AppsFlyer implemented.
Of course.
First thing that we got. So just, kind of understanding like how the business is currently structured and how, what technology's on the ground and then what do we need and taking it from there.
Yeah, so what does growth look like? Because people talk about growth can be many things in different companies. Sometimes it could like the sales team, it could be the marketing team, it could be the performance marketing team. What is growth actually at Kuda? What's your team responsible for and how are you building the team?
So it's a cross-functional team focused on the full funnel. That's probably the best way I'd describe it. And I can explain that a little bit more.
Yes,
please. So like I said, it's both marketing and product, right? So I have a team of marketers. Obviously acquisition is a huge focus. So people focused on running all of the campaigns. A lifecycle marketer, so focused on that activation and retention piece and automating all of the comms. Most recently, also we've brought on a organic growth marketer, so shifting our focus to a lot more organic. That's on the marketing side. On the product side, I have a PM, and he's really focused on looking at the funnels. How can we experiment? How can we A/B test? But also, kind of owning the growth stack. Like, how do we, implement it? Just kind of, obviously working with the engineers to get us kind of a solid growth stack essentially. And then that's obviously all underpinned by data. So we have data analysts that are supporting the team. Like obviously everybody needs to be quite data savvy, but for the kind of more in-depth stuff, and that's an area that we're still kind of building and diving into. So
that makes sense. What has been the biggest achievement so far?
Biggest achievement?
For you?
For me, I think we're just touching on 5 million registered customers. So I think overall the growth has been pretty amazing. So I'm pretty proud about that. I think we're one of the most downloaded apps in Africa. Other than obviously big American apps like so kind of like an African-owned app. I think really proud about that. Most recently, we did a really kind of great growth hack with our Kuda for Business product. We implemented cross-promotion in Kuda Retail, and we just saw the numbers skyrocket. So that's pretty proud about that one too. I mean, I say this is my team also.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a shout out to obviously the guys who actually do the work. There's been a lot of great success stories, I think. Even just landing in Nigeria for the first time and just seeing the billboards everywhere and TV and radio and
that's part of my work.
So it's just been an exciting ride.
Yeah. And what has been the biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge, I'd have to say probably like releasing our global app.
That's the one that you just expanded to the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we had to, part of scaling up really fast. You have to constantly be developing again and building better systems for scale. So obviously a huge undertaking by our product and engineering teams. On my side, again, it was like implementing the growth stack in a very short period. But it obviously gave us the opportunity also to kind of improve on it again with the learnings that we had from the first time that we integrated it. So yeah, huge challenge, but absolutely necessary for global expansion. So what else? Yeah, a few challenges also. I'll leave it at that one.
So let's dive a bit deeper into growth, right? You mentioned growth stack a couple of times. So what does the Kuda growth stack look like?
Sure. So I kind of look at a growth stack I mentioned it in two different ways. Like growth stack's obviously the technology side of things. So I'll talk about that first, I guess. Everything is essentially underpinned by a CDP. Which is segment. A customer data platform. So that's essentially, we're using that for all of our event management. So everything flows through Segment. And then we push that down into the likes of AppsFlyer for attribution. We have Mixpanel. We're using that for behavioral analytics. We have Iterable on the automation side of things. So again, kind of like a CRM to message our customers. What else do we have in there? Few other bits and bobs, but obviously we use like AppTweak for ASO. We've got social analytics also. So there's various pieces lots of things and kind of constantly building, right? Like looking at like what's the next area that we can really kind of double down on and I guess be better than the competition. So that's kind of the tech growth stack. But I also look at the growth stack as everything that the business is doing, essentially, everything from the brand to just everything, right? The way that I work with the team is we obviously have like our core responsibilities, like acquisition, but also how does that work with the brand team? What are we doing on the brand side that's relatable to growth and acquisition? So, like if we're doing a big campaign that has TV creative, like are we repurposing it correctly to be optimized for mobile and acquisition? So there's always like, so it's all the elements in the business and having that, I guess, input into how it impacts growth across the full funnel.
Yeah, that's exciting. So we just kind of mentioned how expanding into like a global market and releasing like the global app has sort of helped you. It's been challenging, but then you've had to do a lot of other things. Are there other things that have changed in the last year? Maybe user behavior, the market, the ability for people to spend, people moving countries. Like a lot of people are jackpotting from Nigeria, for instance. Other digital banks are coming up as well and doing really greatly. What are the changes that Kuda has had to go through, and how have you, as the head of the growth team, sort of like?
How's it changed? I mean, it's a dynamic market, right? It's always changing. So I think even with regulators, things are changing all the time. So I think you always have to be adapting to what's happening in the market. Obviously, kind of macroeconomic climate right now is challenging. So I think there's definitely a shift in the way we as a business approach the market, but then also consumers are also in a very different space. So it's an evolving space, I would say. I think we adjust our marketing a little bit, kind of taper it in, like make sure that we're not like being frivolous in a way with everything that we're doing, and focus really on the core channels that are giving us the best performance.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you changed anything about your user acquisition strategies per se, targeting, ad spend, tools, any specifics you can share?
So I think, well, for one, we kind of scaled back advertising whilst we were building the global app, and also just to kind of like reset a bit. So we've definitely scaled back the number of channels we're working with. We have, so yeah, right now we're kind of focusing on just, the best of the best. But, again, we'll kind of accelerate and pick up more channels in the new year. Yeah. What was the question again? I kind of get lost.
I think that you kind of answered it. So I have a question here. It said, as the application grows, you inevitably have to face the changes of how you're attracting customers, right? So how do you search for new channels? Because you just mentioned focusing on the best of the best. So how do you focus on new channels? How does your analytics stack, like AppsFlyer or Mixpanel, help you to make sure that we know exactly what to focus on at the right time?
Yeah. So one thing, I guess, we're always trying to go deeper in the funnel, right? Like trying to find customers that are valuable, right? That are sticking around. So we're constantly trying to, what are those signals? What do we know about our customers that like we can feed back to the networks to kind of, again, find similar customers, right? So I think that's also one thing that's changed is just trying to focus on quality. Obviously, there's a fairly complex onboarding always with finance, but I think specifically in Nigeria with BVN and NIN. So we're constantly trying to find customers that will go through that full process. We obviously have different limits on the different depending how much KYC we have on you. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest change is just looking for customers that'll stick about, and I think that'll be a big focus next year also.
Yeah, if I'm starting as a growth marketer and I wanted to deep dive into things like mobile measurement attribution for a mobile app, what are the best practices that you would say, hey, look at this, try this out, like maybe top 3?
Oh, best practices. I mean, for one, obviously work very closely with like your attribution partner, right? AppsFlyer is fantastic at putting really good content out. So if you're just looking to learn, I'd say follow the networks, right? I mean, that's something I definitely did in my early career and still do is I follow a lot of blogs, a lot of resources, attend a lot of events. Don't have the time so much anymore, which is so unfortunate, but hopefully as we kind of get to a more comfortable stage, be out more often. But yeah, just keep a beginner's mindset, I think, and just always be learning.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know that Kuda now is a global team. So how do you do the UK team? You want to expand to Nigeria, to other African countries? How are you building your team around expansion?
Yeah, it's a question that's come up quite a lot. Like, what does the team structure look like? Right now we're one team essentially. Obviously I have some people based here, and we've also a big team in Nigeria. The reality is we're one team, and I think it'll stay like that for quite a while. I think as we have multiple markets that are as big as Nigeria, we'll have to see how the structure looks. But for now, it's one team. We all kind of contribute to all the markets really.
Yeah, makes sense. How do I become a VP of growth? What do I need to do in my career to say, hey, in the next couple of years, I'm able to lead like a global big team like the one you're leading?
Gosh, yeah. What do you got to do? I mean, I think the first thing is obviously, achieving good growth. Like if you're already a growth professional, if you have great success, like I think that's obviously the starting point to get into a leadership position. But I think also, hiring a great team. It's probably one of my biggest challenges is finding great people, and like kind of unleashing them to do the great work that they do. So I think you've got to be good at finding good people, and then the results kind of have to have to be in line, right? so yeah, I think that's.
Okay. Bonus question on AppsFlyer, because while we're doing this video, what are the core tools or your top 3 tools on AppsFlyer that you recommend people to actually like, hey, just don't create like unique links to share. There are other things that you can do on this platform that helps you like do better growth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so my team kind of uses more than me these days, but it is an absolute critical tool. I mentioned the success we had with the Kuda for Business crossover. That's using their OneLink technology, right? So I think OneLink is a huge part of what we do to measure performance outside of the networks. Yeah, that's probably the main one that I can think of. But we use the full feature set. Obviously, the retention reports. We've also we kind of dabbled with Protect 360. Their anti-fraud tool. So. And yeah.
So this is 2 years down the line, right? If all that you know now, you know it now, but then you got the role just today, what would you do differently?
Yeah, gosh. I think probably make sure that I had allocated engineering resources from the start. Like I mentioned, it's a cross-functional team. And I think like you don't realize how much there is to actually build. Like when AppsFlyer is there's constant things that you need to update and change in any of the technology, because they're always developing new tools. And then you also obviously want to make small changes to the experience also. So I think that's, if I was starting again today, I'd kind of have a better idea of how to build the team. I think I started with acquisition and I slowly kind of added on. I think I have a much better idea of what you should hit the ground running with.
And what would that be? Would it be engineering resource, or what exactly?
I think so engineering resources, obviously coupled with the rest of the team. But yeah, that's what I would.
So would you focus on more product or more marketing? If you had to pick, right? Like, what would be the best recipe for growth? More product-led experiment, or more marketing lifecycle and acquisition?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's kind of cuts across both, right?
To pick one, what would you think? It's like, if I only had one team, right? Marketing or product to lead growth at Kuda, I would actually pick this one. Not because they are not good. Like I think your members are great. I'm just talking in terms of like hierarchy of what you think has the best impact on actual quality growth.
I can't really say. It's cut down the middle. I'll be honest. So there's certain elements, and that's I should say one thing is like obviously our core product team are doing growth also in a sense, right? Like they. If there's no product to promote or to optimize, growth comes from everybody in the business. Like I think that's always also one of the misleading things where you have the title growth. Like I think growth definitely comes from both sides. The marketing that we do, but it's only as good as the product that we're building, right? We can get people in the door, but like then it's up to the product and that's also where the growth kicks in of like optimizing funnels, optimizing the experience. I like to keep it down the middle.
Right down to the middle. Okay, cool. How does regulation kind of like play in what you do at growth, especially working for like a fintech company? From GDPR things to just things like our BVN to just things like user behavior, just generally down the line.
Yeah, so I mean we're a regulated entity, so it's first and foremost that we follow the regulation that's set for us. I think from there it's just about trying to optimize the experience, right? How can we do intelligent things to get that full KYC? Like how can we make the experience more enjoyable in a sense, rather than filling in a lot of forms or giving out a lot of details straight away. So I think it's that's with onboarding, but it's just trying to work within the guidelines, but make it fun at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think my final question is like, how are global mobile internet companies changing the way we do business cross-border?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think mobile's been a huge disruptor in general, right? But specifically in finance, I think fewer and fewer customers are going to the traditional brick and mortar, and everybody's kind of moving online. It's obviously different markets are at different stages of that evolution, but ultimately you can see that's the direction where customers are headed. So I think huge disruption in the finance space.
Makes sense. I said that was my last question, but I love
No,
it.
you keep firing away. Keep firing away.
So I remember when we first connected, I went on LinkedIn and I was kind of like trying to figure out what the whole Kuda growth and marketing team look like, and I saw like there's a lot of this content and communications, then there's like a marketing department and branding department, then there's growth, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of wondered, why do we have like, how do you guys separate that and work together? So if you can expand on that. But then also it's also knowing that your core growth team, like the marketers, is very small. So like you have 10 people. I think you have like less than 5 people in your team, and for such a successful company. So how have you hired like the right people? Do you go for like senior marketers or mid-level or entry level to be able to have a very lean growth team, but also very impactful?
Yeah, big question. So we definitely have like different groups, brand and comms, and kind of sit and growth. But we all interact together. I'd say we're still actually kind of one team in a sense, even though we have different titles of, I think we still work very, very closely together. Like I said before, we couldn't promote anything if there wasn't creative that came from the brand team. So, and I think that's important also for, localization and understanding the local market. So that's, I guess, answering the first part of the question. In terms of hiring, we definitely looked for very experienced people. I think it's super critical. Obviously, if you're the first person to join the team in that field, you have to have the experience. I think as we scale, it would be nice to expand the team and bring on new people that can also learn the ropes. So I think that's really been my focus is to get people that really are experienced. So that's how we've kept our team numbers down, but also. A big focus of the team is to be very scalable, so to be quite tight and scalable.
And what does scalable mean in this sense?
Well, if you think about running campaigns, you can do that for multiple markets quite easily with 1 or 2 people. You don't need a digital marketer in every market country, that we launch. So that's the idea of the growth team, is to be very scalable and support kind of the local markets. As I said before, as we grow bigger and bigger and bigger, the plans will probably have to change a bit, and we'll have to be flexible and see how that works. But yeah, trying to keep it lean and mean.
Makes sense. What would you say has been the biggest lesson you have learned leading growth for a fintech startup in Africa?
Oh wow!
They kind of layers the question. There's one about it's in Africa. It's a fintech product as well, and it's you just being at the helm of affairs for growth. So.
Gosh, yeah. I don't know. I can't think.
There has to be one.
What have I learnt? I guess for me, it's
like if you left Kuda today, what would you say would be your biggest takeaway from the experience?
Gosh.
did that make the question harder?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm always learning. I guess obviously I'd never been to Nigeria before, so I think just a huge learning in the culture, what it's like on the ground, and I think that'll be the same in every market. And like I said at the beginning, I think that's one of the things that excites me the most. So yeah, I take away a lot of learnings, not just about work and growth, but like more personally, like just experiencing a new culture. I think for me that's the most exciting bit.
Okay, I like that, but that was a personal one. Tell me about as growth, not just as a person learning new culture, but in terms of like a growth lead, a VP of growth, like the actual work part of it.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like I don't know what you're trying to get out.
I don't even know. I'm just curious.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, there's so many experiences that I'll take away from this.
Okay, give me a few.
I guess the power of your brand being one, right?
Personal brand or the company brand?
Company brand, right? Like I think, I think we've built a very, very solid brand over the years. So that's one of the big takeouts is, it's hard to build these things. Like when you're looking on the inside out, outside in, things might seem easy, but like it's really challenging to actually, execute it right. I think, obviously before I even joined, they had really kind of nailed that. They had great product market fit. I guess, and all of the pieces that go together. So, again, going back to your question, growth is not just like digital campaigns or this. It's all the pieces and how they fit together, right? I think that's probably the biggest thing I'll take away from this, is just how it all interconnects and how it's so important that everything is functioning as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. And now I promise final question. So say I become a VP of growth of a fintech product. What would you advise me to do? First day, I say, hey, Pieces, I get into this job, do this. If you kind of like want to succeed like me.
Gosh. So again, I think, kind of understand where the business is at and what the gaps are.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so you just got to kind of see, like I said, our stack is constantly evolving.
Right.
So, what we need today is different from when we first came in, right? So initially it was like acquisition through digital ads. Now, like I mentioned, we're focusing a lot more on organic. So I've brought somebody on to run ASO and SEO and also focus more on web. The first few years we kind of, we've obviously had a web presence, but we're mobile app first. But as we grow and we solve solutions in certain places and we're at a good space, we can start focusing on different areas. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes.
I think I went left field on that, but yeah.
No, I mean, the first thing that you said definitely answers the question, where you said think about where the business and look out for gaps, and then kind of layered on top of that, right? In terms of like, of course, what you're going to do is going to evolve over time.
Yeah.
So you're just going to keep trying to learn and iterate, but at the beginning, just like, what are the gaps and what do I do first, right? Yeah,
pretty much just spot the gaps. Again, kind of have that like growth stack in mind. What is the technology you need to accelerate growth? And, as I was saying, like the other side of the growth stack, like all of the elements in the business, like where are you currently at with that?
Yeah, that makes sense. What you said just made me remember one final question, and I promise it's final one. I don't lie. But so, growth stack can be a lot of tools, right? Like when you were listing earlier, you talked about tools for ASO, you talked about analytics tools, CRM tools, like there are a lot of things. And that's because, as you rightly said so many times, right, growth is a mix of multiple things.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, right, at the very beginning, especially if it's like an early stage product, we don't have up to 1 million users, we have 10,000 users. Is there a basic stack that you would recommend like a B2C app to use at the beginning? Like, of course, as you grow, right, you need a lot more things, but at the very beginning, so we won't just launch, right, and it's first time product, is it like 1 or 2 or 3 max tools? It's okay, this is the fundamental growth technology tools that you need?
Attribution, probably number one.
Because you got to know where your users are coming from,
You got to know,
right?
yeah, exactly. You can't really run campaigns that well without it. So I think attribution is one of the first things I would go for. You can get good product analytics anyway from, say, like Firebase. So if you're super small, like there's obviously tools that Apple and Google have. So I would start with those. And then a lot of, obviously, if you're still quite small scale, a lot of these companies have great like entry programs, right? Like where some of it's even free up to a certain amount of users. So yeah, I would start with attribution, then probably product analytics. I think those are
so attribution and product analytics.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much, Brad.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, this is cool. Thanks for
I think this is fun. I definitely learned a lot. I mean, looking from the outside in is different from kind of hearing someone else's experience when you're like, oh, this is what you actually do. Because I'm a big fan of the Kuda brand, right? I've known Bab for a while. And I remember like the first announcement of when Kuda launched. And I'm like, so seeing it grow over the last couple of years, like it's very impressive. So I really enjoyed just getting to know you and kind of like trying to figure out, because if I want to replicate this in the future, and I can just watch my video and say, hey, what did Brad say about building Kuda the other time, and just get to it. So this was fun for me, and I'm pretty sure it'll be fun for everybody else.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the opportunity. Like I said, I prefer to be behind the scenes normally, but thanks for having me and chatting with me.
Awesome. Any final words?
Download Kuda.
I mean, yeah, right. Whether you're in the UK now or you're in Nigeria, you can actually use Kuda.
Absolutely, yeah.
I recommend. I have it, so I highly recommend.
Awesome. What's your username? I'll send you some money.
Oh, really?
Actually, no, wait. Cut that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brad. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video to the end. There's an AppsFlyer and DigiClan report on the description link, so make sure you download it if you want to learn how mobile apps are transforming finance in Africa. Also, I'll put the Kuda link there because, we interviewed Kuda. So definitely download the app, whether you're in the UK or in Nigeria. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Thanks. Peace. Can do peace out.
Peace.